September 7th, 2022. Well, a lot of things are happening since my last video. I think the big one, of course, is that we've all heard that federal judge Aileen Cannon agreed to appoint a special master to review the documents that the FBI seized in the Mar-a-Lago raid. And this, of course, has created a lot of left-wing blowback, and they're now on a major uh, uh, issue of saying, hey, this is a Trump-appointed judge. There's something wrong here. When you consider that, I think there was judge shopping. Well, gee, what did the other side do on their way to get the warrant? I mean, that was a bit of shopping as well. So obviously, both sides are playing a legal game here in the system. But I think that this is a good news for Trump in that, if nothing else, it kind of delays the process and maybe slows it down some. Essentially, there's a various set of aspects of this which we'll kind of go into in a little bit here. By the way, just want to mention that, of course, as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We need more subscribers. A like helps out with the algorithm if you like the video, and of course, comments are appreciated. Yeah, and of course, you can forward it links to your friends if you want to. Yeah, okay, this is essentially what this does is two things are kind of important, and one of them particularly that came up was in addition to looking for attorney-client privilege material, which was apparently more extensive than classified documents were, according to what we've heard now. The other thing is for executive privilege material. And here's kind of important. The Biden administration tried to waive executive privilege on Trump's material. And she's raising the issue that maybe this isn't appropriate. And the reason why that is because executive privilege, one of the primary reasons for it is that so that a president can receive confidential advice from people, and they can speak frankly rather than thinking, politically of how it will seem when this becomes public. So the idea is to give them a degree of protection, mainly for the advisors actually, and to keep their advice confidential. So this is why it may be inappropriate for Biden to try to say that Trump doesn't have any executive privilege on all these documents. And I think that'll be a controversial opinion, of course. And the good thing for Trump is, and for the Republican Party, which are two aspects of this game, is that it might drag the process out and maybe kind of put it into a hibernation for a period of time, because I think a quick movement toward an indictment is definitely not good for the Republicans in this highly competitive congressional season. And so that's why I think that's kind of good for the party and the campaign as a whole. And as far as Trump, I think it gives him a chance maybe to get his story organized and get his legal team figure out what they really want to say. And we'll get into some stuff on why that's the case too. But I think that, and of course the rest of it is just for the attorney-client privilege material, because it seems like they scooped up all kinds of also patient doctor-patient material as well. There's all sorts of material in it which has nothing to do with the issues of official government documents. So I think she's made a very good call on this. Of course, there is a possibility, which is looming, that the DOJ will appeal it, and we're not sure whether they are going to or not. That'll be interesting. She didn't get in the way of them going ahead with a review of the claimed classified material, to review that for any kind of compromise of national security, which I don't see what the compromise was. There's no evidence anybody saw it. As far as I know, it was presumably just in boxes other than people that were searching for it as pursuant to these government subpoenas. So, I mean, you could have the most sensitive document sitting in some place in a box. If nobody had any idea it was there, it's not likely to be any more compromised than if it's the government safe behind security guards because they don't know it's there. Now, if they did know it was there and somebody broke in and got it, that's a different issue. But remember that Mar-a-Lago is protected by the Secret Service, even when he's out of office. So it looks to me like that nothing really has been compromised as far as I can see. However, the latest thing that they've dropped in the leak thing is the whole nuclear secrets thing. And as I had kind of predicted in a previous video, that it probably had to do with a foreign power. Well, now they're admitting it did have to do with a foreign power. And it probably has to do, I'm guessing, a little bit, that one of our adversary foreign powers, probably North Korea, perhaps even China, or the nuclear program of Iran. These are the most likely suspects. And it probably is some sort of a top-level executive summary type presentation of the status of those programs. And it probably does draw on sensitive intelligence of various sorts, human and signals and so forth. So that, I mean, I'm just guessing, but it makes sense that's what it is. And as far as we know, none of it was compromised in any way to the public. So, but they're going to make a deal out of it. But what's interesting is that he was denying the nuclear aspect of it, which suggests to me that it's quite possible that he doesn't really know it was there. Now, I'm going to go into speculation a little bit here, but let me do it. Here's what I'm thinking probably happened. It looks like this stuff, first of all, we know a factual from what the FBI is saying, that and their leaks and all, that the material that was classified was mixed in with a bunch of other items that were kind of, in with newspaper clippings and magazines and all sorts of just public information in boxes. And there was only, it turns out now, 100 documents. So my guess is that what we're going to find that were actually classified, there was a bunch of cover sheets, which is, but that doesn't really count. Empty cover sheets don't matter. So what we're talking about here is about 100 documents. They're probably pretty thin documents because we know he liked to have very simple bullet point presentations, not too much depth. So if that's the case, then it's pretty easy for these things that have just been lost in the mix of something they're claiming over 11,000 pages of material, which can be almost anything from presidential records to personal records to medical records to who knows what, all stuffed in a variety of boxes. And remember, previously, 15 boxes were turned over to the government per their subpoena, and that was signed off as, hey, we've done our job. We've done what was ordered. So why did he withhold these particular documents? These seem to be the last thing he would really want to hold on to for any ulterior motive. I mean, something about, say, a foreign country, Iran or North Korea or whatever, nuclear weapon programs. I mean, that's the kind of thing he wants for light reading? I don't think so. So I'm guessing that this may just be a mishap. And in fact, it may just indicate they didn't know what was there. And that's just my 2 bits worth. We'll see what pans out, but I've been right so far. It was the nuclear stuff, if it was there, was something about foreign systems, not our nuclear secrets, not our capabilities, but theirs. And, so I think that kind of outlines, I think, what I think this is. And so it would probably behoove him a little bit to say a little bit less about things so he knows what he has, because they may actually know more about what he has than he does, or what he had, let's say. And that's one of the problems I think he's facing here. But hopefully this special master actually occurs, and hopefully it's sustained by courts. Otherwise, you'll have the appeal and then the appeal of the appeal. And it may go all the way to the Supreme Court. And particularly the executive privilege issue particularly may, because I think that's an issue that really has some meat to it, that goes beyond Trump and his presidency, and it has to do with precedents for the future, for other administrations. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's a win for now, and if nothing else, it's good to win in the district court because, then the other side is in the position of convincing an appellate court to overturn it. Where if he'd have lost, he'd be in a much more delicate position trying to get an appellate court to overturn what the DOJ wanted. I think that's for sure. And as far as, so we'll see where this goes from here, but it is kind of a big mess he's got himself into. But it may be more accidental than people think it is, what I'm beginning to that this may not be deliberate withholding at all. It may just be they didn't realize what was in there. I know when I've moved from one place to another and done so, maybe a little faster than I intended to because of a job issue, I ended up with a whole bunch of boxes full of all sorts of stuff somewhat randomly, and then some were well organized. So it's quite possible that does anybody believe that he personally packed the boxes, or that he was even there, directing it personally? Presumably some staffers, or I've heard even the GSA, Government Service Administration, may have done the work. And in that case, who knows? So at any rate, that's kind of what I have for you on that. I think it's a little bit of speculation, I guess, beyond what's in the news, and lay out what's in the news. We'll have to keep up with what happens on that. As always, I will of course post this also on Rumble, and of course my social media accounts are listed in the description below. So until next time.